Good morning, one and all present here. A warm welcome all. Today we are having a wonderful session with the eminent speaker. Before introducing our resource person, I would like to welcome you all for this session. I welcome our beloved HOD sir, Dr. D.L. Venkatesh Babu sir, our department faculties, coordinators of NCET. I welcome our respected HODs, professors and faculties of different institutions. I welcome you all. The motto of this webinar is to impart the knowledge to all our students. So I welcome you all, my dear students. So I will take this opportunity to introduce today's speaker.
Just 1 minute, Kiran. As a HOD, just I'll do a formal welcome to all of you. Very good morning to all of you. And thank you all the delegates and participants for showing interest to learn some webinar learning from Project Progress. Today we have an eminent speaker with us, and engineer Nagesh Ramamurthy sir is a founder and principal consultant of Adya Global Advisory Private Limited, Bangalore. And also he is having a vast experience in the area of construction management. Already has trained many 6,000 plus engineers, and the details are given by our coordinator Kiran, engineer Mr. Kiran. On behalf of management and the Department of Civil Engineering, I my own welcome all of you for the webinar on learning from Project Progress. First, let me welcome the engineer Nagesh Ramamurthy sir. Sir, thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and sparing your valuable time with us. We are very much happy and honored your presence and sharing your experience among budding engineers and all the upcoming engineers or working engineers. We are very much thankful to you, sir. And also welcome Engineer Ashok Kumar and Engineer Mohan Raj and many professor consultants. They are all joined here. As per the coordinator, they told 300 plus registration. I welcome you, all of you, on behalf of Nagarjuna College of Engineering Technology. Now I request the coordinator of the webinar, Mr. Kiran, just a brief introduction about the speaker. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, HOD sir. I once again welcome our beloved HOD sir, Venkatesh Babu sir, our department faculties, coordinators, and respected HODs, professors, and faculties of different institutions. I welcome you all. The motto of this webinar is to impart the knowledge to all our students. So I welcome you all, my dear students. I will take this opportunity to introduce today's speaker, Engineer Nagesh Ramamurthy sir, a graduate in civil engineering from Bangalore University, obtained his master's in business leadership and management from Michigan State University. He worked in the construction industry for 3.5 decades. He is passionate about project management. Currently, he is a research scholar in project management. He has been a leader to project professionals in architecture, developer, and large national and multinational firms. A passionate teacher and coach took him into portals of many engineering colleges. As guest faculty, he has imparted his experiential knowledge to over 6,000 emerging engineers and practicing engineers in various aspects of construction and project management. Till recently, he was a board member at Project Management Institute, Bangalore chapter. He was the chair of the Engineering and Construction Forum and also heading the Corporate Relations Portfolio. So he is passionate about gathering more from Gita and Bhagavatam. His hobbies are watching youngsters play on the streets. His interests are reading management books and writing about his professional journey. With this brief introduction, I welcome our resource person to this session. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Kiran, and thank you, Sir HOD of Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, for welcoming me.
Thank you very much.
It's indeed a pleasure to be among so many students. It's been a long time that I addressed a gathering of students like this. I think 4 or 5 months ago, I did one session for CMTI. Before that, I think it was 2.5 years ago when I had spoken to students very long ago. Okay, I thank this opportunity to speak about my experiences, my learnings from Project Progress. And while I'm doing this, I also thank all those students who helped me learn actually. There were so many students with whom I have done a lot of master and doctoral thesis. it has been a learning experience. While they worked on their thesis, I worked on my learning. Thank you for all the students as well who were with me in the learning. Before we move on to, of course, I have thanked all the organizers, all the participants, and especially I see my friend Ashok Kumar and Mr. Mohan Raj also. Well, I have kept this presentation little primitive, keeping in mind the attendees are mostly students. It is more student-centric presentation related to learning and projects. Those who have already worked in different projects may find it little basic and primitive. Sorry for that. But if you think that this is a good refresher, please take it that way. And moving on, this is how I will progress my 40-45 minutes of presentation. I will, since the topic is learning from project and progress, I will first talk about projects, then talk about progress, and then talk about learning. With these three stages, then we will see if there are questions from the students or anybody else, and then we will have a discussion if there needs to be one. So this is how next 40-45 minutes is going to pan out for every one of us here. Now, talking about project, as I was introduced, I'm very, very passionate about project management. I think I've done project management for almost 3 decades, 2.5 decades, over 2.5 decades. So I started small time as construction management and then moved on to project management. You all should know that construction management is the subset of project management, which in turn is subset of management. So management, project management, and construction management. That's how it is, one subset of another. So 2 words. If you look at these 2 words, project and management, project is mostly technical. Everything that is encompassing in projects are all technical. So how is technical things going to get managed? Long ago, I was told that these 2 words are oxymorons. You cannot manage a project. Management of project is very impossible, kind of. But you have management in every sphere now. You have financial management, your health management, your wellness management, your body management, your fitness management. You name it, you have management everywhere. But construction and project management is there since time immemorial, I say. But it has come into limelight only in last 3-4 decades. When we built large monuments, like we had Leaning Towers of Pisa, we had the Egyptian monuments and many old Gothic architectural monuments. How were they built? Was there no management there? There was, but there was no terminology called as construction management. There was science behind it. There was technicalities behind it. Pythagoras theorem was there. It was relevant. It was used those days as well. Construction techniques were used. How did the large blocks of stone go to the top of the Egypt pyramids? How was Giza built otherwise? So it was prevalent. Only thing, it has come into as a science only later on. As a skill, as an art, it has come only later on in last 3-4 decades. Otherwise, construction and projects management was still there. It's gaining prominence now because the expanse of construction has increased many folds in last 3 decades. We have got a lot of urbanization that has happened. If you see, IT industry has kind of taken away cities by storm. We have projects happening left, right, and center. There is infrastructure projects happening. So in last 3 decades, project management has taken prominence. But it doesn't dissolve the technicalities of the project. You have budget, you have people, you have calendar, you have a lot of elements in projects, which comes from concrete, steel, glass, wood, wool, carpet. So many things a project is made out of. There are so many resources. There is human resource. There is many other resources. There is energy into it. all this needs to be managed because they are coming from different sources. Their utility is different, their quantum is different, their behavior is different, their should I say components or nature is different. So they will all have to be managed. It's like making an elephant dance. It's how difficult it is to train an elephant and make it dance. So making a project, developing a project is like making an elephant dance nowadays. So that is why this management has got a higher prominence today. It's like saying that we have an elephant walking into a town which is full of blind men. Now each man want to feel and observe that elephant. They have never heard about an elephant. It's just walking in. The bell clinging, which is tied to the neck of the elephant, made them come out and try to feel the elephant. And every blind man wants to feel it the way he feels it. Somebody says it's a rope, somebody says it's a tree trunk, somebody says it is an arrow. In projects, that is how it is. Everybody who looks into the projects, who contributes into the project, who is interested in the project, looks at the project in the way they want to look at it. But we are not trained that way. We are engineers. Sometimes it is good for us to go back from a distance, see the project and say, this is a project. This is an elephant, not the components of it. The components makes the elephant, but the components together builds the project. So how do these components contribute to the project, and how are they managed at the right point of time or right quantum or right behavior is the management that we generally do in project management. With that little insight, let's move on to the next set of it. Now, having done projects for so long, there are three things that I see are very prominent in projects. I call them 3 C's. Any project that you take, let me tell you, project here, since we are all predominantly civil engineers in this gathering, we talk about construction project management. But projects in general happens everywhere else also. Like you look, take the COVID vaccination that's happening currently. We are all talking about it. We are all into it. Either we are interested, or we are influential, or we are into it. Despite that, it's a project. So any type of project, be it construction or otherwise, there are 3 C's which I have seen in my life. They are very complex. Why are they complex? Because there are so many components of it. If you take a large project, maybe running for 2.5 years, multi-million-dollar project, just a bank of consultants or team of consultants who work on the project is maybe in sometimes 3 digits. So many, let alone the items of components that go into the project. Imagine if only those who are designers and who contribute directly or indirectly to a project are so many. Imagine those people who come forward and build the project. So many. There are so many items that get into a project. So many disciplines: electrical, HVAC, firefighting, construction, civil engineering, security and surveillance, so IT, you name it, you have every component into a project. Each discipline brings in so many items. So it becomes more complex. That's why project management becomes very important. So many people come together to make a project. Complexity is the nature of the project. As engineers, our job is to look at that complexity and then simplify it. That's our job. That's the job of a project manager. That's the job of somebody doing project management. Bringing it, like computer through which I am having this discussion with you, is so complex. but it's binary, 0 and 1. If you go to the basic, it's just that. It is, this complexity is built from something which is basic. Similarly, a project is built from something that is basic. So we start with basics, then make it simpler. 1C is that. Because things are complex, what happens is there are conflicts. If you take people itself, there are 40, 50 consultants working together on a project, don't you think there will be conflicts? Conflicts of behavior, conflicts of egos, conflict of knowledge, conflicts of what each one is talking, the other fellow doesn't like it. There are conflicts within people. There are conflicts within services. There are conflicts within disciplines. It is very common that where there is complexity, conflicts will definitely happen. With our knowledge that we have gained, with the experience that we gain, it is our job as project managers or those who are managing the projects to resolve the conflicts also. It could be people, it could be technical conflicts. The third characteristic of a project is change, the third C. Now show me one project which doesn't have a change. You have a project to go to Singapore. You have a project to go to Mysore. You plan a project to go to Nandi Hills someday. Anything that you plan will not go as per plan. There are changes. A project having changes is natural. Some changes comes because of that conflict. Some changes comes because of the complexity. Some changes happen because of the environment that the project is happening. Some changes might happen because of the statutory laws. Some changes might happen because of something that is not available. Some changes might happen because some item has become obsolete. You planned for something, by the time the project is over, that item that you thought that you will put it in the project has become obsolete. Now you have to go to the upgraded version. So changes are integral part of the project. As engineers, we have to manage all these things. Now let us go into a little interesting and very basic about project. Now in construction, it is common that we manage these three things, which is the basis, which is the project triangle, what is called as. We manage the scope. Scope is mostly the technical part of it. What is it that is being bought in the project? Because under construction project is a transaction. Something is being built for buying. Something is built which is already bought. So what are you buying? What are you building? There is a technicality behind it. So that forms major portion of the scope part of it. Now, then comes the cost and the time. In a project, our job as project managers is to manage these three. I'm sure most of you students out here who are aspiring emerging engineers would want to become a project manager one day. You want to independently manage your project. You want to probably have your own organization. That's a project for you. Building my own organization is a project for you. But there, any project that you do, irrespective of the kind of project or discipline, civil, electrical, pharma, vaccination, whatever, you have these three things which is mandatory: scope, cost, and time. This is what you have to manage. However, what are you buying is the scope part of it. There's a product that you're buying, you're building. A product can be an item, it can be a project as a whole. Like, let's say you're buying an apartment. It's a product for you. But apartment has got a specification. There is a technicality to it. That is the scope. How many rooms, how many kitchen, how many toilets, what floor, what wall, what finish, which floor, vagara, vagara. So scope comes in different forms. Let's take that subject as a different topic altogether for another day. But scope comes in different forms. Scope is available in product brochures. Scope is available in specifications. Scope is available in contract document. So many places a scope is available. All that you guys are learning in college, 75 to 80% of it is available in the scope document and projects. There's nothing that you are learning in the college and is not available in scope. I would say 70, 75%. Because there are a lot of things that you will learn when you go on the field. So anything that you are gathering in the college is a part of the scope. I'm sure you have the next aspect. When you're buying something, it has a cost attached to it. Either you buy something based on what you have in your pocket, or you buy something based on what you want and then gather cost to it. So, but there is a cost attached to it. Now, each cost is also determined by the time. A project has a duration. And this triangle is called as project management triangle. So there is a defined scope, defined cost, defined time in which a project has to be done. Any one of the change in this triangle, the triangle is no more isosceles. It becomes oblique or acute. So what do you do? Our job is to bring back the project into this triangle. If the scope changes, the cost may change or the time may change. If the time changes, there could be an impact on the cost. If there is a cost implication or I have less money or more money sometimes, what happens is I will change the scope or I'll change the time. So this is the change which I was talking in the previous slide in 3 C's. This change is what we have to manage. Either we have to see that we adhere to this triangle, or if there is a change, we manage those changes. The reverse is also possible, which I just now said, that scope, cost, time, and scope, or the other way around. Both is possible. This is what we have to keep it in mind. While we are keeping that in mind, there are many other areas where we have to upskill ourselves when we work in the projects. What are those 4 areas? Every cost, every scope has got a definite quality that I want. When I'm paying a 10 rupees for something, I want a defined quality to it. So quality management, along with scope, time, and cost management, is the next biggest priority. While we are doing that, I told you, every project is a business transaction. For us engineers, it is technical mostly in the projects, but ultimately somebody is spending, somebody is buying, somebody is earning money, somebody is spending. So there is a procurement transaction between the two. There is a buyer, there is a seller, and how does it happen? How is scope, time, and cost defined in the procurement? How is the best product being bought at the best time and cost? How is the quality defined when you are talking the transaction? How is the quality defined or determined or taken in the project when the project is running? All that is available in the procurement. How do you do the procurement? There are various methods of doing procurement. I don't want to get into that, but I'm only saying that when you're learning in projects, you will have to learn a lot about procurement management. It is not, you may say, what is procurement? It's a contract. You must have heard about the word contract, agreement. Those are common words in procurement. It's not my cup of tea. I'm an engineer. Why should I know about it? Why shouldn't you know about it? Because all that you have to do in the project is available there. You cannot help somebody sell and buy and still manage without looking at how the procurement has happened and what is the terms and condition. You should know about procurement. And remember, 2 slides back, I talked about conflicts. Conflicts can happen because the way procurement is done. We have to manage those conflicts also. So we have to, being technical engineers, we have to get into procurement to whatever extent we have to. Of course, in colleges, in those who are students of construction management would know that there are 4 M's. 4 M's. Man, material, money, and not just 4. There is more. With those 4 resources, if you don't have energy, where will you do the work? How will the resources perform if there is no energy? So energy is another input. So resources are the input. Look at that juice making machine on the footpath. There's something that goes out in, something that comes out. Resources are the input for any process or any projects that needs to happen. So what goes in will determine what comes out, isn't it? You can't put oranges and expect sugarcane juice to come out. Can you? No, you can't. So managing what goes into the projects is what we will have to look at. That determines the cost, that determines the time, and that also determines the quality to a large extent. The most important thing where we engineers fail is communication. When I use the word fail, I generally don't mean where we as engineers fail, but we as engineers allow the projects to fail. It is said in research of project management that 80% of the project fail. 80% of projects fail, out of which 75% of the projects fail because of lack of communication or miscommunication. Now, what I need to make it clear, why does a project fail? Project fail because whenever there is a project, there is an intention, there is an intent why a project is done. If that project doesn't meet the intention, it means the project is a failure. You may finish the project, you may use the project, you may not use the project sometimes, or it may not be in the state of use. We have launched so many rockets and put it in Bay of Bengal. That's a failed project because it didn't meet the intent. The mom did not communicate to the satellite center in Bangalore. It was a failed project. Communication did not happen. It's a large project that I'm talking about, but in construction projects, we as engineers communicate 90% of the time. 80% of the projects fail. 75% of failure is attributed to communication. So how good are we as managers in communication? Aren't we pathetic? If you look at 90, 80, and 75%, that's where we have to build our capacity as project managers. Be it technical communication, be it leadership communication, or be it communication related to documentation and writing or oral communication, whatever type of the communication that we do, we are not doing it well into projects. That's another area to be focused. Quickly, I want to run this slide. Nothing much on this. It's only as an information to you people that there are 3 kinds of progress in projects. One is physical, what is what we see by what was it today, how is it grown tomorrow, how is it growing tomorrow. That's physical. Next one is the time. We have Gantt charts. We have 30,000, 35,000 activities in our Gantt chart. We track them as to how well they are doing on the project, what percentage of project is completed as far time is concerned. A lot of people work on different tools on time management. So that is a different progress. If the progress physically, if it looks like to be 30% on time, it may not be 30%. That may be a different benchmark altogether. But there is another thing that I want to talk about on the cost. Physical, let us say, is 50%. Time-wise also, we have completed 50% of the project. In 2 years, I've completed 1 year. In 50% of the work, I see also 50% of work is done. But cost-wise, I may see that if I had to spend 100 rupees, I'm not spent 50 rupees because the time lapse is 50%. I may not have spent 50%. I may have done less or I have done more. So cost wise, I may be ahead of project or I may be behind project. But marrying cost and time is one another area, which is another management called as earned value management. It integrates time progress and cost progress to show how well is the project doing. When you come into projects and start working, this is one area where you need to focus and understand how earned value management works, how progress of the project is determined on two axis basis. One is on the cost, one is on the time, which integrates both cost and time and tells you the health of the project. Health in the sense, how well are we doing in the project as far as project is concerned in its progress. So earned value management is a very, very large subject. I just thought I'll give you a sneak peek out here. Now, coming to what you guys are doing in the college. What are you doing? You're gathering a lot of theory for practice. You are if you are left today, you would want to go to the site and start earning and working and contributing, isn't it? But theory is so vast that you're taking 8 semesters, 4 years to gather that theory to put it into practice. Any theory is not a theory if it is not put into practice and developed, or it doesn't evolve. There has to be a balance between what you learn and what you practice. If you practice something which you have not learned, it is something stupid or absurd that you're doing. If you have a theory, you have learned something and you have not put into practice, then you're wasting 4 years of time that you spent in the college. So there has to be a balance between the two. So what I say is, there are 3 ways in which there is a balance or there is a connection between theory and practice. You're learning some theory for putting it into practice tomorrow. All that you're learning in your laboratories, all that you're learning as equations, all that you're learning as a theory as far as different subjects over 8 semesters is done, is to be put into practice. When you come into the field, we people from the field always, industry, we always say there is a large gap between what you learn in the college and what you learn in the project. That's because in projects, there are different theories which you will have to learn. That I call it as theory in practice. When you come onto the field, there will be a lot of things like, how do you do curing? It's not taught in the colleges. There is no code which says how curing of different elements of concrete has to be done. It has to be looked at the way it is in practice out there in the field. So theory in practice, you will have to gather and learn. Now, there are some things that becomes obsolete. There are a lot of things that are ideated, innovated, put into practice. So your theory is slightly tweaked and put into practice and then seen whether it works or not. If it works, then replicate it, take it hazard places. That is theory by practice. You practice something new, see that if that idea works, repeat it in your projects, repeat it in your organization, give it to the world for different organizations to use. That becomes a best practice. Theory by practice, that is. So that I will talk about this once again in the next slides which are coming up. But keep it in mind, all that theory that you accumulate today, tomorrow, or any other day has to be put into practice someday or the other. Look at that opportunity where you can put it into practice. Now, there are 5 things. There are many, many things that I have learned in projects. However, today I want to share 5 of these one by one for you to gather and remember, and hope it will be of use to you. Now, what I say is understand a lot of things by asking why. We are all people of science, isn't it? Why should we take anything that is told to us without reasoning it out? It is also said, if you have a problem, 5 whys will give you the root cause. If you continuously ask 5 whys, probably you will hit the bottom and get the root cause of a problem. So when we have been told like that, being science students, we will have to ask why. That's how learning happens. That's how I have learned a lot of things. I have asked this question to everybody that I have come across in my projects. It could be a mason, it could be a carpenter, it could be a fitter, it could be anybody. It could be my project manager, it could be an architect, it could be a structural consultant that you're working with. Anybody. If you think that you don't understand, you have to ask why. Why? Why and why? Why are we building this project? Why is somebody doing what is being done? Why is a particular thing being done in a particular manner? Why foundation should come after the excavation? Or why should the superstructure happen after the foundation? Of course, today there is a different way that you can do the foundation later also. Top-down construction is happening in many places. But 20 years back ago, if I had said that, they would have said, stupid you are. Today, it's a possibility. Theory by practice. So why is certain sequencing being done? Why is things being done in that manner? Why do I need a fire door? Why do I need this? Why should be staircase so wide? Why should I have railings or staircase on both the sides? While there is a wall on the other side, why do I still need a railing? Why should be the tread 150? Why should be the riser be tread 300, riser 150? Why is a particular line? What does it denote in a particular drawing? Everything needs to be understood by asking why. The significance of each and everything that you do, that you see, is to be understood very, very clearly. That's one learning in projects, the way you can learn. The second thing is, a lot of people, when they take a new role, or you guys come out of the college and get into the projects, it's a new role for you, student to becoming an employee, a contributor. Anything that is given to you will look like a very big mammoth thing for you. But I told you, everything starts from the basic. There are a lot of things that you have gathered in the college from where you can do a start. So every activity, every problem, or everything that is given to you, however big it is, break it into smaller parts which are manageable, so that all that is manageable can be accomplished. For those which you are not able to manage in a task, there are people to help you, not to worry about it. If somebody has not ever cooked and you tell him today you have to cook, that fellow will start sweating. But cooking has got so many activities, sub-activities, which are doable. You have to buy vegetables, you have to wash vegetables, you have to peel vegetables, you have to cut vegetables. So many things which you can do, right? They're all part of cooking, isn't it? That way, a large quantity of work has to be broken into smaller parts, which can be managed, which can be monitored, which can be learned in small bits and pieces, and then ultimately go to the final activity. That also will help you that you don't push it to the tomorrow, you don't procrastinate. And also, each bit you will have to break it in such a fashion that you still relate it to what are you doing. Like tomorrow, very first day you join the site and somebody says tomorrow you have to monitor concrete. You are alone. Now you'll start shivering. No need. Concrete is not new to you. It has been taught to you in the college. Concrete has different properties. You have learned how to test the concrete. You have learned how to prepare for testing for the concrete. You know water cement ratio. You know the ingredients of concrete. There's so many things you know about it. Break your activity into smaller parts so that it becomes easier for you to learn and contribute. Third one is learn to respond to this. That is replan. I'll go back to again the same thing what I said, changes. Integral part of project. People change, team change, companies change, drawings change, resources change, specifications change, materials change. environment change, weather changes. It's an integral part of project. We have to learn how to manage those changes or how to replan in those changes. That's a skill that we need to upskill. It's very easy. Again, you will have to there are a lot of changes that happen only in components of the project. Look at what component is changing. Look at the current status. There is a roadblock when you're driving. What has changed? Your destination has not changed. It's only the route that has changed. Look where you are. Find out what are the other ways to reach the destination. Then divide that changes into, again, the previous slide, into smaller components and achieve your objective. Simple. If you follow these three principles, managing changes is very easy. You have done it in your personal lives. It's only that you will have to apply it to projects. Project management is, I feel, applying what all you have done in your personal life into the projects. That's all. What I am saying is not new. This is something that I love to share. Having conversation with the right people. Remember the communication I was talking about? Projects failing because of communication. 90% of the time we are communicating. If we are sitting idle and silently also, we are communicating to ourselves. And sometimes we are not communicating to the right people at that point of time also. Instead of going out and talking to somebody, when we talk to ourselves, it does more harm to us. I'm sure every one of you want to become a leader. Every one of you want to go from bottom to up. There's nobody who wants to come down the slide. Whatever your goals are, you have to keep going up. That everybody wishes, everybody wants. But in that, everybody wishes to be the leader. Now, a lot of people ask, are leaders made or leaders born? My answer to that would be leaders are made. It is a small trigger or a small circumstance which make a person leader. I'll give you two examples. If Mahatma Gandhi was not thrown from in that railway station, that was the trigger for him. If Mother Teresa had not seen the famine and people dying in Bengal streets, she wouldn't have been what she was. There is a trigger to everybody becoming a leader, everybody taking a particular path leading to that leadership. So you have to find your own trigger when you have to become a leader. Yeah. Famous Amitabh Bachchan line. हम जहां खड़े होते हैं लाइन वहीं से शुरू होती है. Keep that attitude. I am the leader wherever I am standing. I know what I have to do. Right? Next one is you have to choose your icon. You have to emulate somebody. If you have to be a leader, you have to get those leadership qualities. You have to get those management qualities. You will also have that technical qualities. Some people are leaders because they are charismatic. Some people are leaders because they have achieved something. Right? Today, Sonu Sood is also a leader. He was not a hero in films. Today, he's a leader. So, next one is choose your goal. Choose your goal. Choose your icon. Then choose your goal. If you don't have a goal, what you want to do, then where is that leadership? Where will be you have the followers? You can't be standing on the top of the mountain one day and say that today I'm leader, you guys, you follow me. Nobody will follow you like that. You will have to stand by what you are doing. Stand by your commitment. Show by example. Do it and show it. So for that, you will have to be, as I said, technically very competent. You have to be charismatic. You have to do it and show it to people. Then people will start following you or be with you, so that you all together can go to that goal that you have set for yourself. But every leader follows some other leader. I said, choose your icon. So follow somebody, yet lead somebody else. You have to be following. All these great leaders read a lot of books. You must have heard about that. Why do they lead? They read because they have to follow a few things. It may not be somebody they may be following, but they want to follow some principles. Then they lead somebody else. So if you have to be in a project, this is one of the most important learning that you have to do. Now, this slide I want to quickly pass on, because is project manager a role or a designation? A lot of people aspire to become project managers. They want their visiting card to have project manager. Not necessarily that project manager is a designation. Most of the time it's a role. You can be in any position in an organization, yet you may be driving a project. So while you're driving the project, belong to your organization, belong to the project, belong to the team, and then contribute. Your contribution comes in terms of what you can contribute because of your experience, because of the knowledge that you have gained, and what contribution also talks about the kind of quality and commitment that you have provided to the project and the organization. While you are doing that in your area of work, there are others along with you who are working in their areas. Learn from their contribution, appreciate their contribution, because I told you, project is amalgamation of all the components. You're working only on a component, but others are contributing to their components, which merges with you to make that elephant, right? So their contribution is somewhere important for you to, for your success. So learn to appreciate what they are doing, learn from them. Of course, be humble, don't be taking success, go beyond your shoulders. And the last one I want to emphasize in the next slide, learn. Now, how does this learning happen, for which I'm here? According to me, there are 3 stages of learning. You must have heard different types of learning. There's somebody who reads and learns, somebody who listens and learns, somebody who practices and learns, kinesthetic fellows, like that. Here I'm talking about completely a different aspect of learning. Now, you are all in the college. You are gathering knowledge. Now, where is the emphasis today? Well, we are on Zoom. So, you know, there is something called a spotlight in Zoom. There's a spotlight, right? Where is the spotlight today? Today, the spotlight is, where is the knowledge coming from? Where is the source of knowledge? The college, the books, the authors who have written it, your professors, your department, your library, your peers, the research journal, Google Scholar, so many published papers. There are so many sources of knowledge. Today, the spotlight is on source of knowledge. Good. But remember, I also told you theory for practice. When you go to the project, all that knowledge is tested, put to practice. Where is the spotlight now? Now it is not on the source. The spotlight is on the knowledge itself. You are using that knowledge for practice, thereby sharpening it. More you do things in a repetitive manner, faster you can do it, isn't it? So you are testing that knowledge so that you can do things faster, better, deliver more, grow further. So this focus shifts on the knowledge itself. Later on, the focus shifts on you yourself. What is it that I am lacking, that I now have to go back to the source of knowledge? Remember, we are talking about learning in a project. You don't know everything that happens in the project. You're only a part of the component. You are looking at only a component. You're a part of the project. Now, if we have to grow, you have to go to another component. There again, what is the source of knowledge? What is it that I'm lacking? Internalize it and then see what is it that I'm lacking. Remember, your goal is the leadership. Your goal is to become a project manager. Your goal is to build your own organization. So understand what is the gap, then go back to the source of knowledge. Spotlight the source of knowledge. Test that knowledge. Come back. Again, see where is the gap. Suppose you are building your own organization. You can't say, I'm a BE civil engineer, I've done masters, so I'll run this organization, leave everything to everybody else, put my legs on the table, sit and relax. It doesn't happen that way. You don't leave everything. You don't leave cash to the cashier. You don't leave all the accounts to the accountant. You don't leave everything to everybody, right? You want to gain a bit of knowledge there to see whether what's happening is correct. What is being told to you as data and information, you understand that well, isn't it? So you'll have to thirdly spotlight yourself every then and then to understand what is it that is as a gap within me, so that I can go back to the source of knowledge. So this is the learning curve that keeps happening in the project for everybody. Of course, there are few outliers who say that I am very content, whatever I am, I'm doing it, getting a fixed amount of salary till I retire, I'm fine with this. There are some outliers like that, but majority of us don't fall into that. We have aspirations. We need growth for those aspirations. For that, the base is the source of knowledge. Build it on using that knowledge, test that knowledge as practice, then go to the next level, see where I have to go, and then go back to the source of knowledge. I think with this, I have finished my sharing whatever I wanted to about projects, about progress, and about learning. If most important, everywhere it is you in this whole presentation that I gave you. Thank you so much. I'm good to take any question and answer or have a discussion in case anyone wants to. Hello?
Sir, 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Now
I got scared. I was thinking that all this while I was talking to myself.
It was controlled. Now only we are allowed to speak.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a nice presentation, sir. Let the audience speak. I give audience.
So you are given inspired speech on construction management. Many people not understood properly what is by construction management and what is required. That you have given very, very clear picture for all young upcoming engineers and how we should be and how to take up these challenges. Very well presented, sir. And also first time I'm seeing the speaker is presenting with a standing. I'm very hats off to you, sir. The way you presented, unbelievable, sir. I request the audience to please, if you have any queries, let me hear. And today's speaker can clarify. I request the delegates, 1 or 2 questions from anybody. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir. Myself Santosh. I'm from East West, a PG student. So I just want to clarify something. So what are the managemental issues in a construction startup, sir?
Construction startup?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you planning to have a startup, or you
yes,
are
sir,
already
yes, sir.
part
yes,
of
sir,
a
yes, sir.
startup?
Yeah, I am already, sir.
Okay. Let me start with basic. The basic is, why are you doing a startup? First, you have to clearly understand the reason for having a startup. Many people don't understand that. Now, let me put it this way. Why do enterprise or a startup fail? Because the startup fail because of two reasons. One is either the idea is something which is not solving somebody's problem, or secondly, the idea is slightly taken from somewhere and slightly tweaked and presented. These are the two reasons why startups fail. Now, if you are also trying to do a startup because somebody else did that, and if you don't have a unique or definite goal, then you are setting yourself for failure, is what I would think. You should have something uniqueness in your startup. If you have that, the chances of a success is very, very high. Secondly, second answer to your question would be, if your focus is, if you think that startup will make a lot of money, startup will get a lot of funding from somebody, I can have an enjoyable life after 3-4 years, I can make quick money, that's a myth. If that is the goal that you have. The third thing I would say on a startup enterprise in construction, the biggest challenge today is the resources. Now, big companies in construction are struggling for resources. Why should somebody come and work for you? If you have answer to this question, you are successful. So these are my three things that I would look at it at a very high level as to why startup would face. Or what are the challenges in the startup in construction?
Yeah, thank you, sir. I got it. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Any questions for that?
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. You're audible. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, and first of all, I would like to congratulate.
Please introduce, sir.
Yes, sir. This is Satyanarayan Raj. I work as a mentor for Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology. I would like to congratulate all the participants, and particularly I want to thank and I congratulate today's speaker, Nagesh Ramamurthy, has delivered session so passionately with a lot of energy and dynamism. I rarely see speaker standing and delivering like as if I am attending a session in a public auditorium, and the slides are well delivered, well prepared with a colorful, in an attractive manner. Simple slide, simple content, and with a lot of explanation and example, has covered a topic for particularly for the civil engineering. Organizing this type of workshop by civil engineering department is really highly commendable, and I appreciate Speaker Ramamurthy sir for making time and really enlightening all our civil engineering students. Sir, my question is, when you compare with civil engineering and mechanical and other computer science branches, once a civil engineer joins in a company, it could be middle size or lower middle, small companies. Whatever they learn in the college and you listen some lectures like you. Otherwise, when they jump into the industry, they don't get a chance to sharpen their personality. They won't attend any training program. Even construction industry heads also, they don't worry about their employees to learn time management, leadership. Unlike software companies like Infosys, Microsoft, they spend a lot of money on the training part. Why this discrimination happens when it comes for training and development, particularly for civil engineering, who face a lot of problems in the construction side, but they're never being provided continuous training program and to upgrade their leadership skills. So is there any reason, do you think the civil engineering can somehow manage, unlike computer science engineering? But otherwise there is no budget in the civil engineering company to train the people. But after listening to your talk, and industry should invite people like you and provide continuous training for the civil engineers to make our country the #1 in terms of infrastructure development. Sir, I need your answer and input, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me know that you liked my presentation, Mr. Satyanarayana. And
thank you.
I thank again everybody who invited me. You hit a very sensitive chord, sir. we are actually construction industry is number one in terms of contribution to the GDP of the country after agriculture. Number one in terms of employment. Number one in terms of the number of people who are benefited out of what we do. Yet we have not second, third, or I think nth motherly treatment that we get from everybody. It's a very sensitive chord that you are asking. However, if you look at why this discipline is called as civil engineering, that's because we build civilization where there is no civilization. Now, when you look at from that perspective, we have civil engineers have gone far remote and at a places where there is no civilization, and we have done projects. We have done it very passionately. We look back and say that we have done it very well. Look at those projects which are done by border road organization, right? They have done it. They have done tunnels. They have done bridges. They have done so many things in remote places. In my symposium from Project Management Institute last year, we had a person called as Dr. Sai Baba, who was an Indian Railways chief engineer. He is working on a bridge project in Northeast where he has been given Z commandos for his protection. Imagine how remotely he is working on a bridge project for Indian Railways. That's the kind of job we do, sir. We take pride in what we do. However, we get third motherly or fourth motherly treatment as far as training is concerned. I'll tell you the reason for that also. There is no dearth of people who want to come forward and give training, sir, in our industry. You ask any leader, you ask any resource person, sir, I have this topic, I have these my students, can you come and impart your knowledge? I would say 98% of the people will say yes to it. It's only that there is a large gap between asking and providing. Asking from not those who are supposed to organize, asking from those who are supposed to learn. I have seen very few people who join the organization and suddenly their goal changes from learning to earning. I'm saying earning is important, but learning is also equally important. That takes a backseat. Whereas in any other discipline, people go forward to learn. In civil engineering, we think that if we know certain aspects of project, we know everything. Actually not. Whatever I know today is a small morsel of a large dish that civil engineering is preparing for in the country. I'm very small. My knowledge is so small. It's a large ocean, civil engineering. But we civil engineers think we know it all. We get that attitude as soon as we get into a project and we get a job. No, we should change our attitude. We should ask, saying that I don't know this. Can you share? Can you teach? If you remember in one of my slides, I said, break it into smaller parts, attend to those which you can. Where you can't, there is somebody else to help you. Our problem is we don't reach to that somebody else. We don't go there and ask, sir, I'm in trouble. I have this problem. Can you help me out? We don't ask, sir. That's the biggest problem in civil engineering. But every other engineering I have seen, I've worked in Project Management Institute and gone to many manufacturing organizations to train, many software organizations to train. There I see people asking. That is all. The other reason is we have been, now the things have changed, but other reason is how we are brought up. When we were young, our parents used to say, don't talk in front of elders. That's how we have been brought. But today times have changed. I've seen a lot of youngsters talking so much and asking so much. But I think if it's a good change, people should ask, share their problem. Unless you shout out and say that I am drowning, how will somebody know that you will have to be fished out of the pond, sir? So I urge everybody in this call, please ask for help. Please shout out that you are in a problem. It is no more, don't have hesitation. It is not it is not, should you say, nachke illadu. Nachke aguantadalla, nan problem alidini anta help. Please come forward and ask. You will definitely get help. You will definitely get training sessions. If not formal, informal training, you will definitely get. I hope I answered.
Thank you, sir, for your very comprehensive answer. This question is haunting me for almost the last 6 to 7 years. Today, I felt so happy that I got the right person to ask this question. You have very nicely explained, sir. Very inspiring answer. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, one question is that what is the importance of maintaining a requirement traceability matrix? What is the importance of maintaining a requirement traceability matrix?
Okay, who is this? Sanat, is it?
No, someone is asked in the chat box, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Very good question. I think he has some sense of construction of project management when he's talking about traceability matrix. Now, when a scope is getting defined, and refined, the scope is tabulated. Everybody wants certain amount of needs in the project. Everybody has a need in the project. So requirement documentation is actually the starting point of a project before even the scope is defined. So when a project manager starts talking to people, asking what is required, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want in the project? It could be a structural engineer, it could be an architect, it could be referring to NBC, it could be specific requirement from the end user. So requirement gathering is done. You do a lot of discussions, you do a lot of meetings, you do a lot of interviews with people, stakeholders, what we call, and create a comprehensive requirement documentation. Now, once this requirement documentation is done, only then scope is defined. This is the project. From there, it goes to the design. But if you remember, I talked about changes. Every project has changes. Most of the time, when changes happen, it is not the person who has asked the requirement changes his requirement. It is somebody else who changes the requirement. So if you have a traceability matrix as to who gave you the requirement, it becomes easier for you to understand why the change is happening, to manage that change. If the change is coming from the person who asked that particular requirement, it is easier for you to reach out to that person and say, sir, this is what you had said that day when I interviewed you, but today you are making the change. Can I know why is this change being done? It is easier to reach out. Or if you reach out to that person and say, sir, this is what you had asked as a requirement. However, this particular change is coming from, say, architect or a structural consultant or a material supplier, or this item is not available. What shall we do? How will you be able to help me? This is one example of why traceability matrix is very important. You will be able to reach out to the source of that information who gave you the requirement. Else, what will happen if you don't know who has given that requirement? You go ahead and do the change. Later on, that person will come and say, this is not what I asked. When user testing is happening in a project, the user will say, this is not what I asked. You went ahead and did the change. You never asked me. I don't want it. User acceptance tests, guess, failed. UAT is a failure. So traceability matrix, this is the quick example that I thought I can give it to you as to how traceability matrix helps. It gathers everything that the requirement is coming from. I hope I answered the question whoever asked.
Rajasundaram is asking, sir, please give me idea to overcome my student syndrome in work as well as in life.
Wonderful, sir. If you refer my last slide, I had said, put your focus. We are on online mode. Put your spotlight on those 3 areas, sir. I think you have to put the spotlight on yourself as of now. Student syndrome is very, very common when you guys go to the project sites. Of course, you are the last fellow in the organizational matrix. However, you are not unimportant. How do you show that you are also important? 2 things I spoke in the slide. One is you belong to the team. Show that you belong. How do you show that you belong? Start talking to people. Make acquaintances with them. Get closer to them. Understand them. Ask them if they need any help. Put your foot forward. If you stand, the help will not come wherever you are. You have to go to them. They are your elders. They are your seniors. They have joined the organization before you. You go to them and start developing that rapport. You will start belonging to the project. You'll start belonging to the team. You'll start belonging to the organization. Second thing I spoke about, start contributing. People should know that you are there to contribute. You are not one among the herd. You are important. Slowly, you are there to become the leader. You have to show that. You have to demonstrate that. For that, you will have to sometime tom-tom what you have done. If you do something, go and tell your boss saying that, sir, I have done this. What next? Can you give me another assignment? Sir, this is what I have done. This is what I could do. Here I have slight problem. This is what I asked him. This is what he told me. Yet I completed it, sir. Start tom-tomming. You have to become your own marketing agent to grow slowly. Start belonging, start contributing. Third one is, when you start contributing, start showing up yourself. I hope I answered.
Sir, basics for project management and profit from Akshata. How to start an economical project? 2 questions are asked by her. One is basics for project management and profit. How to start an economical project?
Okay, I am not understanding the question, but whatever I understand, I will try to answer. The project management and profit are 2 different things. Project management is not done to earn profit. They are 2 different things. Please delink them. Project management is done because project is very complex. Somebody has to look at a project from a distance and match the components. That's why project management is done. Not all projects are for profit. Not all projects are profit, except for those goons who are all over the papers today. Vaccination, which is being done in the country, is a project. It is not for profit. Not all projects is for profit. If you join Rotary Club, if you go and attend their meetings, they do so many projects. It is not for profit, but it's called as a project. If you look at Akshay Patra, what ISKCON is doing to feed all the students in the school so that the school students attend the class. Nobody should learn when they are hungry. That's a project run by Akshay Patra. It's called as a project. There is an intent, there is a goal. It is not for profit. So delink these 2. Projects is different, profit is different. Right? A project has got those few management that needs to be looked at. What I talked about: scope management, cost management, and time management. This triangle, project management triangle, you will have to learn. How is scope defined, managed, and validated? What I am buying, I am getting. What quality I want, quality management. What procurement, procurement management. Communication management, resource management, scope management, cost management, time management. There are 10 different areas of management under project management. You have to learn all of them. Each management is like that juice making machine on the footpath. There is an input, there is an output. There are processes in each of them. You put something, you get something out. That is project management, right? You put money as a resource, you get product. You could put money as a resource, you get labors. You put
Not audible.
money as a resource, you get another. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, I lost internet for a few seconds. So using a spanner to change the tire is the process. Tool is the spanner. If you don't know how to use the tool, you know it only in theory, it's of no use. In project management, you have to use the tool and practice it. So these managements will have to be practiced in project. Those 7, 8 are very important. There is risk also. Coming to the third part of your question, which talks about how to do project for profit. That is the part of your cost management. Balance sheet. Cost management talks about cost of all inputs and cost of all outputs. You have a budget. Why do you make a budget in a cost management? Because you need to know what is it that you are going to spend in the future. Budget is always for the future. The country's budget for the next year is presented in February, March, because that is in the future. So in the project, you make a project plan, which is cost plan, which is the budget. In the budget, you will earmark all the expenses. You will earmark all the income. That's the balance sheet of your project. You will have to see whether it is making profit or not. Credit and debit. Again, you are going out of technicalities, but it is part of your project. You need to know a bit of accounting also, credit and debit, profit and other things. So efficiency, you know the definition of efficiency from your physics school days. What is efficiency? When input is less than the output, then efficiency is more. So for profit to be more, in this balance sheet, your input should be less than what is your income. That gives you the profit. I hope some kind of understanding I have given on the question.
One more last question, sir. I'm a student. I completely understand the concept, but I fail to apply in real life aspects. How could I do this?
Two ways of doing it. Understanding the concept, if you understand it, that's kind of 60% done for me. A lot of people don't even understand the concept. Turning a spanner clockwise opens the nut or anti-clockwise opens the nut. A lot of people don't know. You can try it out. Do you really know? If you know the concept, 60% job done. Now, there are two parts to applying the concept. One is you will when you are given a job, I'm sure, I don't know if you're working or you are still a student, I don't know, but when you start working or when you are in execution of anything, you will have to quickly recall all that you learned in your theory. It could be school, college, or engineering, wherever you learned whatever, as to how it can be quickly applied. Quick recall is very important. That's what is said, no, thinking on your foot. That is very important for engineers. We'll have to quickly think as to how do we solve the problem. We should have a good recall. So if you understand those concepts very well, then recalling becomes very easy for you. So I assume that recalling is not a problem for you because you have understood the concept. Once you recall, you will have to understand what needs to apply to where. That's the first part you will have to understand. You can't apply any tool for any problem. You can't use a spade to take out a prick on the nail. Not. So you have to use the right tool for the right problem. That's why I said, talk to the right people. You have to understand who are the right people. Same way, you have to pick up the right tool from the basket of tools that you have to solve the problem. If you understand that, I would say another 20% of job is done. So you are at 80%. The second part of it, or the third part of it is sometimes you have the tool box with you, but you don't have the place to apply it. For that, you'll have to go and ask. That's where is the problem. Most of the time, we don't go and ask. We don't give a helping hand to others. If somebody is in problem, you say, I have this toolbox, can I help you? When somebody's tire is deflated on the road, you have a toolbox. You stop your car and you ask them, can I help you change the tire? Same way in the projects, you have to put your foot forward. Two reasons. One is you're using the toolbox, you're applying your concept. Secondly, you're building a rapport with that person to whom you're helping. Tomorrow he may help you, you never know. So that is the third part. So always look at opportunity where you can use your toolbox. The toolbox is the concept that you have learned. Never lose an opportunity, small or big. Get into it. Jump into it. Finding an opportunity is also a knack. Not everybody gets to know. Those people who are in sales and marketing are very good at it. They train themselves to find an opportunity and jump into it. So we have to be like those sales and marketing guys to see that what I have the tool, I have to use it. Can I go and ask? That's the third part. I'm sure this will help you.
Any questions from the audience? I think Sanath, Mr. Sanath, any questions?
Yeah, someone is asking, but I told them to unmute and ask.
Okay.
If they want, they can ask.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Excellent presentation, and also you have given a clear picture how to go about to venture business in construction management. We are very happy and honored today with this webinar. It is eye-opening for many of us how to train the students, how to place them. And thank you for your support and accepting our invitation and spending your valuable time with us, sir. I hope that there is no questions from the audience. And I request on this occasion, sir, we will interact once the lockdown is over, and we will put a lot of classes like this, seminars, webinars like this for the betterment, better understanding from the student prospects. And also, I'm happy to inform you that we are running two PG programs, sir, one in construction management and structural engineering. And we have a BE civil engineering also. The three programs are going on in our college, sir. Thank you once again, sir. I request the coordinator, Mr. Kiran.
Yes, sir.
Kiran is there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thank Mr. Kiran also for coordinating the entire project, Mr. Sanath Kumar for excellent technical coordination. So without you people effort, this webinar will not be success. I thank you once again, all of you, and also I thank you, the speaker of the day, and also I thank you, Engineer Ashok Kumar and Mohandra sir, and all the webinars joined throughout India. I think many members shared. They are from Northeast, even Coimbatore, Chennai, and Bangalore also. Many students, professional consultant. Thank you all once again.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Yeah, very well, sir. Again, sir. Definitely. Thank you for that, sir.